what happened was there's this guy named JB. JB! Oh, no. I don't know who they're referring to. ACW, I believe they put on a show where I can't remember. I think Nick Nemeth wrestled Big Ben Bishop, and I don't want to even say that. I shouldn't even say it because I don't remember. I think that was the Fed we promoted on the show. But they had a match. They weren't complaining, not to me. Big Ben Bishop, of course, was on PWT. These wrestlers have come out and they're like, don't work for ACW or JB. And a bunch of wrestlers, like indie wrestlers, came out and were just sharing stories of like, yo, this guy's been people. So I didn't want to put it in sickos because I felt like it deserved more shine than that. Like some of these wrestlers have been on TV and it's not like they're being sickos. It's more of like an expose. We're going Maven Huffman style. But Danny Limelight. So if you guys remember him, he was in AEW. I'm sure some of you are like, what? But yes, he was in the early days. He said, don't work for ACW or JB. I told all the girls I would have their back no matter what, even if I lost my spot time and time again. I was the only one taking a stand and speaking up. I'm glad everyone is finally standing up for themselves. Here's my experience. So he was like, to all the workers that have been wanting to work for this company, straight up, don't work for them. Yeah, so ACW is putting on big matches. I think it's okay. I'm pretty sure Big Ben Bishop wrestled Nick Nemeth. So Ben Bishop didn't get, Nick Nemeth definitely didn't get, we'd have heard about it, but they've been putting on like bigger shows with like some names, and so these wrestlers are all speaking out about it like right as they're starting to kind of get liftoff. But anyways, he says, anyone wanting to work for this company, straight up, don't work for them. I'm still owed money from April 17 as well, but watch JB pay the strippers he had on the show. The strippers? Oh my God.
You what?
JB? No, not Jeremy Borash, for Christ's sakes. Not him. But he told the boys we had to wait 30 days to be paid as they are a TV company and not an indie. Liar. We already played it, but they tried to do this contract stuff and lock us in for dates. Wow. So just getting too big for their britches. Only to cancel dates on us last minute. When I told them I was done working for them and just wanted the money I was owed while also wishing them the best, my messages were deleted in the group chat, and then I was kicked out of the group chat. I kept following up for my money and kept being left on red or told I was contacting them off business hours. When they finally got back to me about my money, I was told I had to mail an already paid for envelope to them so they can mail my check to me in the envelope I paid for. What the? ACW brags about not being an indie company, but the way they you got PayPal, bro. The way they conduct business is worse than almost any other indie I've worked for in recent memory. They're not a WWE ID school. They're booking ID guys and trying to portray something they're not. So they thought they were going to get that little WWE rub, huh? JB, who is the man behind the scenes, plasters Mark Henry's face all over the flyers, but he's the one really pulling the strings. He's not a good person. He threatens to cancel hotel rooms, flights, etc. while you're overseas in a foreign country so that he has power over you. And there you go, man. Like, damn, that's crazy. You're out like in Japan or something, and then it's like, yeah, no, we'll cancel this flight on you if you don't, whatever. And then it's like, holy, how do I get home? That'd be, but also it's like he's putting Mark Henry's face on. And I want to bring this back to like the Booker T, Chase and Rance thing. Okay. Sometimes there are people who are like gatekeepers, and that's the thing, right? This tyrant behind the scenes, he's using Mark Henry's face on his. Thankfully, Danny Limelight's like, well, Mark Henry's not anything to do with it. But that's the thing. Same thing with Chase and Rance, Booker T. Like, he pays Booker T a good chunk of change, man. He does, this Jason dude. And then Booker T goes there and does a seminar once a year. And then they take a picture together. Like, goddamn, man, you can't put what that dude's, like what he does in his private life on book. Like, how do you even know he fully knows about that shit? And there's some people who are like, well, he does. And it's like, reality of wrestling was made aware of it and shit. That's fine. But ultimately, we can't, again, like, here's some asshole using Mark Henry's face. Do we blame Mark Henry? No. And I'm glad he's not catching heat, and I just want to use this as an example. We don't know what this JB guy is paying. Clearly, he's got money if he's like, we're going to do this thing and we're TV and you know what I mean? We're booking these big names and then we got Mark Henry's face. How do they do that? Is this Mark Henry's buddy, or is he just paying him to use his face? We don't know the extent of that, so no heat on Mark Henry for this, guys. Anyways, he's not a good person. He threatens to cancel hotel rooms, etc. We read that. He treats the women so bad, borderline creep, and when they speak up for themselves, they're fired. In fact, anyone who speaks up is fired. The company then dangles the Caribbean vacation carrot over other wrestlers to come play. Don't work for this company, period. I probably won't get my money after this post, but I'm going to stand with my brothers and sisters who had to deal with this treatment. Yeah, it's just better to fucking say this and just scrap it and wipe your hands and go fuck it. You know, it's like, you know, just keep moving. Like, I don't even want to do business with you fuckers, you know? But if it's on paper, I mean, you probably sue them or something, but sometimes it's better to just wash your hands, move on. We have more posts, though, from wrestlers who were all like, so Maserati 3, she's like, I always said I would never air shit out on social media in this business, but JB Cool has gone too far. I don't care when he retaliates back, and I'm proud of everyone backing each other while going through more in comment section about my time at ACW. So she goes, I don't know where to start with this. I said I was never going to air shit out on social media. This one was big. I'm disappointed. I put my trust in this person. I was always warned not to work with this guy for years. Holy fuck. See, man, the money just makes people like be quiet and just, oh, well, I'll try it out. Well, he won't grab my ass or whatever. I don't know where this is going, but like, well, he'll pay me or whatever, you know? It's like, nah, dude. I admit he had done a lot to level me up in the business, but behind my back, he was low-key holding me back and trashing me. I've seen him mistreat multiple talent, people of the Caribbeans that would help with our shows and myself for too long. One of the times I confronted him on things I didn't like, so in a way to sweep it under. And I hope you guys find this compelling. Like, no other pro wrestling show is even going to talk about this. It's important. Motherfucker, I support wrestling more than any of these goddamn sickos who call me a fucking E-drone. And it's Federales. Get it right, okay? Oh, and promoted me to be head of women's talent, but that was also for me to book girls because he had a bad name and they would trust me more. So this guy put this lady here like, you got to book the women's talent because I'm a creep, right? Allegedly. I'm not saying this. This is what they're saying, okay? He would call us women, bitches, and hoes to our faces and behind our backs. I did nothing but be loyal to him and the company I believed in. I had opportunities for major companies, and instead of taking them, I chose to commit to ACW, saying he's going to book someone to bury them. He's offered to pay for my gear for the launch of ACW. So she's saying, you know, well, my gear maker made it. He sent half the payment. So this guy's like, yeah, I'll pay for it. And then he sent half the payment to the gear maker. Right. So people are putting their trust in him and he's fucking them over. He would throw in my face saying, if this was WWE or TNA, you would do it. Yeah, you would do it if it was Vince on his plane and he gave you a kidnapper. I said I would do something different instead. So he wanted the gear back, even though she paid for it. Gear maker asked for rest of the pay. Now it's on her and she looks like an asshole. He fabed me and her for 3 days. I asked what's up. He said he wasn't going to pay the other half since I didn't listen to him on the Mohawk. He said F her and F her bills that she had to pay. I have them all screenshotted. He finally paid her and told her not to tell me he paid her. So I would stress, man, this is some fucking like, I don't know. I know nothing about this guy, but this just seems like fatherless behavior, right? No, but just like, why are you so angry at women, bro? What the fuck's your problem? Like, why are you so... He is very vengeful and spiteful, man. He will act cool with you, but when you least expect it, bam, throw the curveball. It's just people get power hungry when you're like, hey, I booked a TNA guy on my show. Look, now I have all the power. So this woman here, Maserati 3, you can read her story again. I'm not going to read absolutely everything she wrote. It's like pages and pages, but that's her story. That's another person. Outlandish Zicky Dice. So he's a former NWA champion, national champion or whatever. He was, or I think TV champion. He was in TNA. He's been in AEW. He's currently one of the main faces of the Power Slap pro wrestler indie Power Slap that Dana White put together. So he's going to be on that reality show. He's Seth Rollins' friend. I've told the story about Zicky. He's a good dude. And so he wrote his story. To whom it may concern, for months I gave ACW everything I had, booked 6 months out, paid for my own flights and hotels, worked at a discounted rate, and showed up ready to elevate their product because when I commit, I go all in. That's the Zicky Dice way. But behind the curtain, bookings pulled last minute with no explanation, kicked from the group chat after saying nothing, left unpaid for 5-7 while the promoter flexes about a 30-day payment award. Meanwhile, messages go ignored and calls unanswered. I've seen the way talent is talked down to. I've seen how quick people get cut if they don't play along. And I've seen how many how my name only gets mentioned when it's time to pitch TV, not when it's time to show real investment in what I bring. I'm proud of what I did there, but I'm done sacrificing for people who only value you when it benefits them. This chapter's closed. The next one, bigger shows, brighter lights, real respect, and a platform worthy of what I bring to the table. They didn't build me, and they damn sure won't break me. Shut up, fucking Zicky Dice cooking. So here, this guy, JB Cool. So this is the gentleman right here. He responds. And he says, I say this, ungrateful people complain about the one thing you haven't done for them instead of being thankful for the thousands of things you have done for them. Don't invest your time into people who think it's your obligation to cure their problems. Keep your records and receipts. IJS. I don't know, man. I just don't think this many wrestlers would be like, fuck this guy, you know? And so Maya World says, if you haven't seen all the posts, she's an indie wrestler as well, Maya World. She says, if you haven't seen all the posts, there are much more coming. Let me see. Everyone go follow Maya World. It's Maya World as well. We are not lying. Everybody cannot be lying about the same behaviors. Yeah, that's just it, dude. He's just gonna like bluff it out the whole time. Even what that last girl was saying, none of it was like her problem. She was like, dude, he wanted me to shave my head to a mohawk. He put me in this position because other women were scared to come work here or whatever, and I could gatekeep that and manage that. I could be the what's the word I'm looking for, the mediator on that, right? And she was like, the gear, like she went and got this gear made because he wanted her to have a new look. He said he'd pay for it. He paid for half of it. Like, yeah, that's a problem that you created that she's coming to you for. So I don't fucking know, man. This dude just seems like a dickhead. And that was the first big story. We made it. Round of applause. That was the first big story in miscellaneous. We're still going miscellaneous. This might be the longest miscellaneous. So, chat, what happened was, Sabu had passed away. We covered it on the show. We talked a little bit about this before, okay? He had his final match in GCW with Joey Janela. We played the highlights of it where he's flying face first into fucking barbed wire. He's doing these hardcore spots. He's going nuts. It's Sabu. It's his last ever match. Of course he's going to. Joey Janela's like the hardcore guy who does crazy shit now, so that's who you do it with. It was on a GCW show. Sabu passed away, I want to say a week or two later, however many days later. And also, I just watched The Dark Side of the Ring about the Sheik, and then Sabu's on that, and you're like, fuck, man. And they just recorded that. They just filmed it, The Dark Side of the Ring guys, when they film and put it together and it makes to air and stuff like that, it's quick, it happens quickly. I'd say comparatively to other shows, at least in my estimation, But either way, though, Sabu passes away. We chronicled it here. He was on Legion of Skanks, crushing beers with those guys and like hanging out in New York and stuff after GCW, like a week later or a few days later, whatever it is, right? And because they were watching the clips from the Joey Janela match as well. And then what had happened was a story comes out where Sabu he was all fucked up and beat up and couldn't make it to the ring, and so he got Kratom, and someone they went and got this Kratom for him, I believe at his request, or someone suggested it or something, right? And then everybody went insane, and a lot of people were like, GCW's a fucking scumbag company that would blah 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 blah, and other people were like, oh, you gotta blame Joey Janela for this, and people were legit blaming Joey Janela for this, man. And then other people, and thank God RVD came out and sort of cleared the air a bit, but a lot of people were like, dude, you can't make Sabu do anything he doesn't want to do. Like, Sabu just knows what he's doing, And I saw tweets out there, people saying man, imagine you've lived the life Sabu did and did the things he did, and you fucking have people thinking spreading around that Kratom took you out, So we're just going to read the story, read the perspectives, but then James Romero and shit get called out, and Dutch Mantell get called out by Rob Van Dam and by Joey Janela as well. So we're going to cover and read all of this as much as we can here. Neckbeards tweets this out, stay classy GCW. So I don't know who's quoted. Oh, Janela. This is Joey Janela. So he says, we are an hour into the show, and I said, just get Sabu here. So they gave him something called Kratom. You can buy it at a smoke shop or something. It's like a legal opiate or something. What Kratom is, guys, is they use it to, some people claim it helps them with performance. RVD's actually a big Kratom guy. It is super addictive. There's no like evidence that it'll like kill you and shit like that, or you can overdose on it the way people are pitching it. That's absolutely not what it is. It's legal like everywhere, man. In America and Canada, I'm pretty sure it's legal everywhere. Like it's not even a question if Kratom's legal. I don't do it. I wouldn't do it just because I hear it's very addictive. And I don't know. I don't like taking even like Advil. I try to not, I don't know, just something about, and I'm not saying it's even like a chemical. I think it's like a plant that you extract whatever the fuck from. You know, I smoke weed, I drink beers. That's what I like to do. Okay. But to each their own, right? And so who asked them to get Kratom? I don't know. Can you take too much Kratom and like faint and shit? Oh, for sure, dude. You could smoke a cigarette and faint, though. That's the thing. You can caffeine overdose. You can drink too much coffee and get super bad anxiety and feel lightheaded and start hyperventilating and shit. I don't know. Has Sabu taken Kratom before? I don't know, but it's not this deadly drug, and it's like a legal opiate. So I don't even think it's an opiate. What it is like they give it to people who are quitting opiates, you know, like they recommend it. You can get off opiates by using this, but 9 times out of 10, you get hooked on the Kratom as well. So there's some people who are like microdose Kratom in the morning and it's like good for ADD or it activates your focus. Some people don't like it. I don't know, man. It's the same with Ritalin or Adderalls or whatever. Some people don't like taking them. It helps some people. Some people abuse them. I don't even think the Kratom was being abused here, but let's read on, right? So I just wanted to shed that light on like what Kratom is. I'm not overly familiar with it, but I do know, like, I'm pretty sure it's legal everywhere. A bunch of podcasters sell Kratom, like Kratom capsules and stuff. So anyways, though, they said he's hopping on the bed. He's hopping off the bed and we're going to get him to the show. So he shows up 2 hours into the show. Sabu is on a different fucking planet. Everyone in the backstage is like, what the fuck is this match going to happen? And my God, did it happen. Damn. So Sabu wanted to go with a bang. What do you mean Sabu can't walk? They said. Yeah, Sabu something with his knee. They're locked up. He can't walk and his feet are bleeding. He's not coming. Sabu's not coming. I said, Sabu's fucked. So we talked to Matt Tremont, and Tremont is about to be the replacement for the match. And I feel like this is going to be the most embarrassing moment of my wrestling career. There's 2,000 people here. This is Joey saying this. This is one of the biggest spring breaks ever, the biggest crowd mania weekend, indie-wise. And I'm going to have to go out there and announce that Sabu once again no-showed his own retirement match. Lauderdale was less concerned. In the back of my mind, I knew Sabu was coming, he said. I never once worried if we didn't hear from Sabu, then I would be worried. But the fact that he was communicating, I knew he was coming. And yeah, Brett obviously has dealt with him more times. So that's like Joey's side of it, okay? And again, him just going on to say like, oh, they gave him this Kratom pill. Well, like where? From who, you know? But again, I'm not sitting here. I have retweeted. You guys can go on X and see it. I've retweeted Joey a bunch of people like accusing him of some heinous shit, bro. Sabu isn't going anywhere he doesn't want to go, and he didn't kill him with Kratom, okay? That's not how it works. So it's fucking insane that people are literally calling Joey like a murderer, and we're going to get into that a little bit more. But BJ Bethel does some actual reporting here, and he goes, I asked a manager at a pharmaceutical company about Kratom. Folks, you can ask this shit. Grok will tell you. No. It's so dumb how on X everybody asks Grok the answers to shit. Like, I get it if there's no context to a video, and you're like, what the fuck is going on here? What is everybody talking about? But when people are like, Grok, what is this true and shit? It's like, man, Grok knows what people put on the internet. It's not like it actually knows shit. Do you know what I mean? You fucking idiots. Like, do some diligence, for Christ's sakes. But anyways, he asked a pharmaceutical company about Kratom. This is their response. And they go, Kratom isn't just for withdrawal. It's a straight up painkiller, but you can't OD on it since, unlike opiates, there's a ceiling to the effects of it. So it's just like marijuana. That's why you can't OD on marijuana. There's caps on what THC can even do to you. It fits into the same receptors opioids use and can cross the blood-brain barrier, so it has painkiller effects. There you go. And so Francine was critical of this whole situation, and she had this to say. Francine is speaking out about Sabu's last match against Joey Janela at GCW. During her latest podcast, she said this: I have a bit of a problem with that, because if the man cannot walk and his knees are messed up and his feet are bleeding, was he forced into doing this? That's something we'll never know. She went on to question why Sabu was allowed to compete in such a physical match while allegedly being in such poor condition. Now, that's what I have a problem with. I have a problem with them being like, oh, his knees are bad and his feet are bleeding. He's got to go out there. But then again, it's his last ever match. So it's sort of like that movie, The Wrestler, or like Ric Flair's match. Do you take that away from him? It's a tough spot to be in as a promoter, but it's irresponsible, to say the least, of like, if you know that shit and then he goes in there and does it, and you like okay it, and you're like cool with sending him in there. I would say that's where I have more of an issue with things, not so much the Kratom, right? But anyways, reading that one paragraph is disturbing, because why would you force somebody to wrestle if they're not in the right state to do so? Or if they're so messed up on drugs or a substance, or if they're bleeding, their feet are bleeding, their knees are so locked they can't walk. That's incredible. She says, I don't get why you would force somebody to perform. I understand it's the biggest show of the weekend and you want it to go well, but isn't somebody's health more important? Francine, who considered Sabu a close friend and brother, struggled to contain her emotions as she reflected on his passing. She says, the whole thing makes me very, very upset. And, maybe that match had nothing to do with him dying. I guess we'll never know. But it sickens me because I lost a friend and a brother, and I'm just devastated. Yeah, tons of controversy surrounding this match. I want to pull up, I think I have to head over to YouTube for this. RVD clears up recent speculation about Sabu. So I want to play this clip here, or a section of this clip. So let's watch Taz RVD and our guy Dominic D'Angelo on One of a Kind with RVD. And I'm going to subscribe live. You guys see it there. And here's what RVD had to say about the whole Dutch and James Romero situation. He does a fine job of reiterating essentially everything they said. And then we'll get to Joey Janela's response, because he snapped out and threatened like possible libel and stuff like that. Here we go.
His birth date, his name, where he was born. I think it was just that in the picture. That so there's that. Now, holy crap! All the heat that's gone to Joey Janela and GCW.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I know it's heavy. I mean, I obviously wasn't at the show, so I don't know what happened or what happened afterwards. But I know you and I text on the side. I was just trying to gather some information and talking to you privately, Rob. But yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot of heat.
And what happened when Taz and I talked? Taz said, have you heard all the talk about GCW? Or I don't know if you said GCW. I'm paraphrasing, but whatever you said, I knew what you were talking about. And I said, it's ridiculous. And you were fired up. You were like so pissed. And that's how they've got everybody. Like there's so many people. I've read comments from social media followers that say GCW should be arrested on manslaughter.
Yeah, dude. I've seen tweets a lot, man. A lot of people, and just saying like this is a scumbag company and all this shit. And it's like, damn, I don't know about all that. Like Sabu would have just no-showed him again. In my opinion, that's what every wrestler seems to say. I know Francine's upset. She just lost a friend. And again, I don't know. I never fucking knew Sabu or anything, but it's just it's unfortunate that now Sabu's passing was just surrounded in this controversy. I don't know. I'm so glad they did this stream, because they really focused on his legacy and shit. And RVD had old Sabu ECW stuff. Like I think it's a playlist from WWE's YouTube or whatever on in the background the whole time. So that was really cool to watch as well.
Regardless of the cause of death 3 weeks later, like thank God these people aren't in control of actually making real decisions,
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, no, you're right.
And let me call Dutch. I want to call Dutch out here, okay? I enjoy listening to Dutch's podcast. What I heard him say kind of changed my opinion on how much to trust good old Dutch. Because,
what do you say?
So he's talking about Kratom, and he's like, well, yeah. And James, the bloke, even says, "I know you're going to talk about." That's a horrible English accent.
Yeah, that was. I thought it was perfect, Rob.
Let me try not trying. It's Belgium. James says, you're going to be talking about Kratom in a minute. So it's like, oh, okay, maybe he's an expert who knows a lot about it. And then Dutch Mantell goes on to say, Kratom is a horrible, horrible drug.
So here we go. RVD's like, I enjoy listening to Dutch. I do too. But he's like, he's speaking out of ignorance. I don't know how much we can trust what he says anymore, because listen to what he had to say about Kratom.
It's worse than heroin. And then
Worse than heroin, bro. They use it to get people off heroin. That's the thing.
he goes on to say, well, I don't know how you take it. And then James is like, yeah, how do you administer the Kratom? I don't think you smoke it, he says. Listen, Dutch, you know nothing about Kratom. Why would you even say that? And it helps so many people. And as my regular listeners know, I'm an advocate for Kratom. Kratom, and let me just tell, like I told you, Taz, tell anybody listening, Kratom, and this is, by the way, in case you missed out on the hype, the gossip, Joey Janela had horrible timing when he put out this post about what his day was like setting up for the match or whatever. And he talks about Sabu being hurt. Big surprise. You know, if he literally couldn't walk and his feet are bleeding, that's fucked up. But regardless of that, it says in there somewhere
that's fucked up.
that Sabu was, I'm going to administer some Kratom. Woo! Did you know Ric Flair has his own Kratom? You didn't even know that.
Ric Flair has his own woo Kratom. Woo! Go to Space Mountain with his woo fucking Kratom. Oh my God. I'd do it too. I'd slap my fucking shit on everything if I was Flair.
So that's, yeah.
Fucking wild,
just show you how dangerous it is. But anyway, so Joey's getting a bunch of heat. GCW is getting a bunch of heat. Everyone is saying, man, they should, man, fuck that. I can't believe I ever supported them, man. They killed Sabu. First off, they didn't give him the Kratom. It was his own people. And I'll tell you what, for sure, Sabu had some Kratom, but he eats it every day. Guess what? I usually eat it every day. Katie eats it often, and I don't eat it every single day. That's why I know I'm not addicted to it. Sometimes I'll be like, hey, I haven't had Kratom in a couple of days. That would make me feel good. It's good for blocking pain, sleeping. It's great for and anxieties. It's a plant that comes from the coffee plant family, and they dry up the leaves, grind them up into a powder, and then you can put the powders in a capsule and a drink and gummies,
and then you snort it. No, shout out Dutch. I'm not.
You just eat the powder. And so for Dutch that wants to say that it's like heroin, and by the way, it's not.
What does Ric Flair call his Kratom? Crate woo. It'll get you going.
It's not recognized by the controlled drug, the list of control anywhere that you can buy for.
So RVD loves Kratom, okay? And basically Dutch and I listened to James Romero's full video, and he was very critical of Joey Janela and GCW, you know, and then Dutch just speaking out of ignorance there. So that pissed Joey off. And his response was, how are you going to let crusty Dutch Mantell lie and say that Kratom is 10 times as strong as heroin? And you agree like I mainlined it into his veins. And he tags WSI YouTube. But seriously, this James Romeo is a disgusting grifter. That's not his name. I think it's Romero. Is a disgusting grifter. It's one thing to talk about it in one video and share your opinion. To squeeze all the money he can out of tragedy for his greedy little fucking pockets and lie he and his clickbait thumbnails can fuck themselves. Whoa now, Joey, don't hate the player, hate the game, brother, okay? This misinformation that he and his co-hosts have shared could 100% be tried for libel. Tread lightly. So I'm not even going to dispute that part of it, especially when you're talking like, how do you administer it? Do you smoke it and shit? Like, you saw RVD's reaction. He was like, whoa, what? Jesus Christ. You could just Google this stuff, folks. You guys spend all day online bitching and complaining. Spend it on Grok or, you know, and I support Joey legit as far as whatever. His beef with Dutch and that's not going to affect me whether I watch clips of old Dutch Mantell anymore. You know what I mean? I'm not a Dutch hater now or anything. But yeah, I think Joey caught too much heat for this, and GCW and Brett Lauderdale caught heat as well for this, but just not as much as Joey because obviously he's the flaming boot guy. It's easy to jump at him. him. Yeah, RVD just laid it out. Sabu took Kratom every day, and now I hope we can all get off this topic. This is the last time. I mean, unless like Romero and Joey start arguing, then that'll go in Sicko Wars. But as far as Sabu, let's just remember the dope shit he did and how wild of a motherfucker he was. And let's get off this whole like blaming people for his death 3 weeks after it happened when he was like on Legion of Skanks. Are we going to blame them for drinking beers with him? Like, what are you guys, fucking stupid? And that, ladies and gentlemen, was a very, very long miscellaneous news.